Thank you.
Great session, guys. I've got a couple questions for you.
Absolutely.
Fire away.
So the first question is kind of like, how did you guys come together as a band? You know, obviously you kind of record your own demos in Logic and then advertising for band members, but how did you kind of get to this point?
Oh man, that was a long time ago. But yeah, I mean, I did some demos of like weird prog rock, which is what it was when it first started out. It was like this weird combination of like, I couldn't decide whether I wanted this to sound like Mastodon or like Dan and Aykroyd, which I think is still the case actually.
Yeah, that's the daily struggle.
Yeah, I just stuck it on Gumtree, and a couple of dudes from Liverpool got in touch with me. And well, in fact, it was a bass player got in touch first on Gumtree because that's the best way to form a band. And I was like, oh, I've got a drummer already. He was like, I'll just bring my mate along for a jam anyway. I was like, okay. And he brought his mate Pedro along, who were so it was Dan and Pedro were the two original members of the band. And then we jammed, and we were a band for about a couple of years, and like we had a jam, and it was like, oh, this is actually really good. So yeah, we did that. We did a couple of shows with those guys, and then Pedro left, and we did a little. By that point, we were kind of relatively well known within Liverpool, so we just got in touch with a couple of mates saying we need a drummer. This is so convoluted and long. And then somebody was like, Greg's literally just left his band like that day or something.
Yeah. So I literally stepped out of one hopeless band into another.
And then we ended up getting Greg on board, and then there's this whole funny family thing with that's
another story altogether. Yeah. So anyway, we'll fast forward a year. And this is when Ben came in.
Because I literally fell into the band.
You did. In fact, I asked Ben to join the band on the strength of the fact that he was funny. I'd never actually heard him play bass before. I was like, look,
but you put my other band on, and you still didn't know how.
Well, because I was sat on the door.
So you didn't know what I sounded?
No, I didn't. And then I got told off by someone while at that gig because it was like a donations only, and he took exception to the idea that we were collecting donations to pay the bands and not giving it to charity. So that happened, and then Ben joined the band. And
5 years later, here we are.
Yeah. So we've been a band for like 8 years now.
Yeah.
This would be 9 years instead. I don't know, too long.
I had brown long hair when I joined, didn't I?
You did, yeah. This sandblasted beauty that we have in front of us.
Oh dear. So anyway.
Sweet. So Tom and Greg, just in regards to your sound engineer background, how does that affect your writing process?
You're alive. You're a studio guy.
Alive.
You're alive.
I'm alive. I am.
You're a studio guy. I'm more of a live guy. So it's kind of more down to you, really, isn't it?
I suppose. I mean, we generally, when we go into the studio, we have like I certainly have like a fairly formed idea of how I think things are going to come out sounding. I mean, generally, I think as a band, we have quite a. I don't try when we record, so I don't try and deviate away from like what we kind of sound like too much. Obviously, it's a recording, so it is more polished, and there's a little bit of editing and stuff. But I wouldn't be like, oh, Greg, you need to play on like a 1950s Gretsch kit, and we'll just do.
Why have you never asked me to do that?
Well, I mean, maybe I would, but it's just kind of about capturing a lot of the live energy of what we have, but then with more layers and more kind of sonic soundscaping kind of going on. I mean, I don't know. I think we might try something a little bit different next time, next record. But that's
skiffle.
We'll have to see how that goes. Skiffle, yeah. Ben's going to get a double bass. I'm just going to get a washboard, I think, and bin off the guitars.
Makes touring a lot easier, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Double bass and a washboard. Go on the back of a Sophie.
I think does that sufficiently answer the question? I'm not sure. Hope so.
It leads us on to the next one, which is how do you approach recording each album? is it you come in with an idea, or is it kind of what gear you're playing with? What gear do you find essential? That kind of thing.
Varies really. Like each record's been done very differently. I mean, I wasn't on the first one, but with Droids, it was kind of done in. We'd write a few, record a few, and then write them, and then record them. It was kind of stepped in a way. But with Health, our last record, it was kind of recorded in one. Written in one go, all 10 tunes, and then recorded as a 10. Yeah.
See, with Droids, we did that one at the Grand, which is where I used to work. So I used to manage a studio. So it was like, well, we'll just do it there because I can do it for free.
They don't know that.
They don't know.
No, I don't work.
They're
there
also
anymore.
not watching
Do you reckon I'm going to get an invoice from the Grand for Droids in 2014? I think with Droids we did it over like three weekend sessions, and I think when we came into Health, the last one, we were like, right, okay, we want something more creatively cohesive, so let's book a studio. So we did a pledge campaign to help like fund that, and we booked a little studio in Oxfordshire called Woodworm, and we went down there, drank loads of red wine, watched loads of documentaries, and made a record. It was really nice, and we felt like a real band for a change.
Fantastic. Who would you describe are your influences musically?
Wow.
Dire Straits.
Queen.
I mean, it's morphed loads over the years. Like I think when we first started, it was a bit clearer because when the band started, it was like I was personally only just getting into like mathy, like post rock and post metal stuff, and I found that was at that point it was like more like clear cut kind of influences, like I don't know, like Ocean Size, yeah, Tube Lord,
Adebisi Shank,
and like the early And So I Watch You From Afar albums and stuff like that. But now, I don't know really. We just kind of listen to Bowie and everything, and that's kind of it. Really.
We don't really listen to anything that sounds like us. Weirdly, like
apart from probably Three Chopped Tigers, I think.
Yeah,
the only like
Tigers,
contemporary reference that
I've kind of got personally, and I suppose
the Bear and stuff.
Yeah, I mean personally, I know I speak for like probably the three of us actually, where like we've sort of grown slightly weary of loud guitar music. I know I personally have, like for the past couple of years. So we've just been with us, like I said, Bowie, like I suppose like things like Low Moon, Radio.
Yeah, we've been listening to that.
But then we were massive 80s fans and sort of like classic-y, love the classic bands. Like we like to binge on
Tears for Fears.
We all had tickets to see Tears for Fears, but they've had to reschedule for next year. They're actually really gutted.
But yeah, I think there is actually, weirdly, there is a little bit of a disparity in terms of like what we individually enjoy listening to in music and what we actually end up creating musically when we get together in a room. It's very
unrelated.
Yeah.
It's like we have the musical taste of like 60-year-old men. And
Same, to be fair.
Yeah. And it's like, we just kind of write our own thing, really, don't we?
You know what, though? I do think it's important because we always have, like, when we're writing, we always have or at least we think we do, have a fairly strong emphasis on song. So, we still want like melodic song form to be the backbone of what we're doing, and so I guess that's where those kind of things kind of come through, really. Because I mean, I when I was younger, I spent a lot of time in like Americana and indie bands and stuff like that. So listened to like a lot of like Elliott Smith and Grandaddy and stuff like that, where it's all just like really interesting songwriting. So
I used to love Midlake.
Oh yeah, Midlake.
Yeah,
the Anarchy Panther was a well good album, and like the Decemberists as well were a massive band for me when I was younger. So it's just this weird sort of amalgam of like loads and loads of different stuff that we've kind of collectively listened to over the years, and like it seems to just come. I think we just enjoy playing loud, heavy music when we're together as a band.
It's definitely like a primeval kind of. Yeah. If that's the word, I don't know. Primal.
Primeval.
Primary.
Primark.
Primar.
Primani. It's something inside, isn't it? Really, I suppose.
so strong,
probably,
isn't it?
Nobody can make it. I think it's just the urge, just to kind of just release energy.
It's quite cathartic, isn't it?
Cathartic.
Yeah. There you go. I was sitting on that one. I was just letting you keep going. Anyway,
Fantastic.
right, yeah. We're doing that thing we do. We babble.
So just one last question. You released Health last year. You're currently touring with that. What are your plans for your plans for the future?
We've got some festivals, quite a fair few festivals over the summer, and then we're gonna, towards the arse end of the year, sort of lock ourselves away and write a new record, really, and just see how long that takes us. I don't really want to put too much of a time frame on it, but I like the idea. I know we've sort of spoken about the idea of like making maybe a bit more of a, like when we're writing, using a bit more, like make it like a studio record, so actually sort of like, you know, like working on our own pace of like layers and textures and things, instead of doing it over, like, because the last album we did over like an 8-day period, whereas this one I think we might just take.
Yeah, because I think Health is like a rock album, isn't it? Really,
I don't think this would be so.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably like Health was more. I hate the expression, but I guess it was more stripped back for us, because normally we would put, and that was fairly deliberate. It was like, let's just make it this kind of wall of like loud rock music, and whereas I think we want to, I don't know, just put a bit more sparkle on it.
Yeah, put a bit. I like that phrase. Put a bit more sparkle on it.
Kind of like dipped our toe into writing, haven't we? We've kind of got maybe one-ish song.
Yeah, we've got a few ideas
we've got
knocking
some
about.
sketches recorded somewhere.
We've got a lot of distorted
pasty,
voice memos on my iPhone.
Yeah, how about this one?
That's great. I love that one.
New
great,
single.
man.
There you go. Great.
My Bloody Valentine tribute.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, we get Kevin Shields in. He'll produce it or something. I don't know.
Sweet. Well, thank you very much for coming down, guys.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, nice one.
Thank you.
Thank you.